Another surprise that came out this week for me, somebody I was very unfamiliar with, if I'm being honest, is Stonebwoy. He dropped his project, his album Fifth Dimension. I have a lot to say about this project, surprisingly, because I didn't even know it was coming out until Release Radar for Spotify put the Stonebwoy Stormzy song in the playlist. And so I clicked on it, I gave a listen. And one, anytime Stormzy does a feature, I'm gonna go listen. Stormzy's one of my favorite rappers, period. And so, and because he has no real social footprint, and you really only get the album when he pops out every 3 or 4 years. Whenever he drops a feature, I'm gonna go listen just to see what he says. And whoever he decides to give that feature to or associate with, I'm gonna check their music out as well. So when I saw the song, I really liked it. The song was called Life and Money. I really liked it. I enjoyed it. But what really surprised me about this project is that it's a dancehall inspired album, right? Stonebwoy is from Ghana and he's making a lot of dancehall records. I'm just going to run down some of the features on here for you and then tell you why I think that's important or why I really enjoy seeing it this way. So you got Stormzy, Tiwa Savage, Dexter Daps, Mereba, Jax Karis, Davido, Shaggy, DJ Maforisa, Angelique Kidjo, and then I don't want to mess this name up, Oxlade. So there's a lot of African artists on there, and then there's Shaggy and Dexter Daps, who are Caribbean artists on there. And so I had to go do some research on who Stonebwoy was and sort of what he had going on, because I was really surprised to see a Ghanaian act doing a primarily dancehall sound. It reminded me of how Stefflon Don has Caribbean parents, but she grew up in Europe, and she associates a lot with a lot of African acts now, or she does a lot of features or things like that with DJs and stuff like that in Africa, which is that's really dope to see to me. And so I went to do some research and I watched this interview with on Hot 97, Ebro in the Morning, with Stonebwoy and Ebro. And then I thought that interview was so good. They talked a lot about the relation between Ghana and Jamaica, which I really didn't really know about. They talk about his influences and who he was listening to growing up. They also talked a lot about just the connection between the diaspora as a whole and why Africa and why Afrobeats being a big player in music going forward, or what I think is going to be the number one genre in the world moving forward, and what that does for not just Africans, but not just African born Africans. That's just African descended people everywhere. And to hear that from him and like the way he was able to articulate the connections between places and how the sounds of dancehall and soca and the Caribbean and reggae were all influenced from Africa, right? Like there's a direct connection that people can point to and identify with, and giving a name to it and like sort of educating people about that. That was so, to me, is really profound and it's important, because I think one of my primary missions with this platform and with the brand is to find ways to connect people across the diaspora and show people how we're more alike than different. And so hearing this conversation with Ebro, it really gave me a type of respect for him that I mean, how much can you really respect a media personality from somebody you don't know? But to be able to like shed light on that and always like give reference to Africa in the way that he does, I really like seeing that. So I'm going to go look for more content of his in relation to Africa. And then I'm definitely going to actually listen to Stonebwoy's music a lot more. I got through the project about halfway through. This just came out yesterday, so I'm definitely going to give it a full listen and then go back in his catalog from before. But I think it's important, like this type of music being pushed to the front. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm still iffy about Universal eating up all the market share all over the world. You know, like he's been signed with Universal for a minute, but they just like signed him through Def Jam in the Americas, I think he said. But Stormzy signed through there, and there's a whole list of acts who are coming out of Africa and Europe that are signing with Universal. And I'm hoping we're just not doing the same thing all over again in every other place. You know, I think there's so much market being created, which I'm going to get into later with Spotify, but it like they're monopolies. And I wonder how you break these monopolies up. They own everything. And so they're going to be in every market. So that's definitely something I'm interested in from a business or like an enterprise perspective. But the music together, I think is important for it to get out there. So if you have time, definitely go check out Fifth Dimension by Stonebwoy.